I suddenly have the desire to change everything about my bookshelves. So let's do it. Okay, maybe everything is being a little bit dramatic because I just have gotten a little bored of the current state of organization of things, to be honest, and I haven't like fully reorganized. Actually, not even fully. I haven't done any sense of like real reorganization since I finished everything in February, because I got these bookshelves in January when I moved to this apartment, and then I finished organizing everything in February, I'm pretty sure, like mid-February-ish, because there were a few hiccups along the way, but I think everything was finished for the most part in February. And then I've done some like minor like resetting, cleaning up, tidying, shifting things, but like the organization in terms of like what genre is where hasn't changed at all. And I kind of had an issue when I put everything together with my young adult shelf. Like I didn't like it to begin with, and I still don't really. Like when I take pictures of my bookshelves, or like when I'm just like standing here looking at the shelves, the part that I don't like is the young adult section, primarily because I just don't think that the selection that I have is very cute. They're all quite dark. They're all in the same like dark jewel tone color palette, and I just don't love that. Part of my shelf that I love the most is this stretch. I think that that looks stunning, and I think that this looks really drab, I guess would be the word, in comparison. And so I would love to be able to do some kind of like balancing, and if I can't strike the kind of balance that I want, I'm really strongly considering moving some of the young adult books, like the ones that are maybe not all-time or like childhood favorites, to a different bookshelf. We have a entry console in the foyer that has shelving that I could potentially move some of these books to. I also have some shelving in my closet that I could move some of these books to, and that could actually create more of like an opportunity for some like display moments on the shelves, which I'm actually not opposed to. I was actually really strongly considering getting another lamp for the shelves, because I don't know if you can tell by what just happened there. It's actually really dim in my room right now. It is bright and sunny outside, and it is only 1:15 p.m. but I have a singular west-facing window in my room, and so from like the morning, first thing in the morning when the sun comes out, until like I want to say 4 p.m. I don't get any kind of direct light in here, and it's quite dark. So any additional lighting that I can get would be great. So I'm really strongly considering getting another lamp for the shelves. So moving some of the young adult books out might be what ends up happening, which makes me sad, obviously, because the point of these shelves is to display my collection. But I've also been doing some reflecting, and obviously, like, I'm an adult now. I feel like my reading taste in general has evolved, and especially more and more lately, I feel like I have grown out of reaching for young adult as much. I still enjoy a young adult book now and again, don't get me wrong, but I feel more enriched by adult books, obviously, when I read them, and I'm wanting to be challenged more by what I read these days, and so I just feel like dedicating shelf space to those kinds of books makes more sense. So, not that I feel like I need to get rid of these books, but I also just don't love the way they look. So, I'm in a bit of a conundrum because I don't want to get rid of them just because of that, but I also don't love looking at them, and that's also silly because this is my room and these are my shelves, and I would love to love looking at them. So we're addressing that today. We're gonna try some different options. I'm gonna try just reorganizing to start and see if I can't just like finagle some new organization that makes them nicer to look at just for me personally. And if I can't make that work, they're gonna get moved, either just into a different part of the apartment or into my closet. And then maybe when I have more books overall on these shelves, we could really rework the sections to have the colors just like balanced out. Maybe they could be like reinserted, you know what I mean? But right now, the overall color palette of this shelf is just not working for me. It's just very dark over there compared to like how vibrant it is over here. Even with my fantasy and thriller section stretching across those two shelves, most of those books are dark, and I don't feel overwhelmed by looking at that. Maybe it's also like the designs of those spines specifically. That's just a me thing, I think. I digress. But we're gonna see if we can't work something out. I think it's just also, I've really been into a very specific aesthetic lately in my little pea brain. Like, just been really wanting to curate my space lately, and that's why I've had this itch come on so strongly to revamp a bit. So that's what we're gonna attempt to do today. We'll see how it goes. I pulled out my hat box of decorations that I had taken off the shelves when I reset a couple months ago. So we're gonna have to see what's in here. And I do think I'm gonna do this like a couple of shelves at a time. I'm not pulling everything off. I'm not gonna pull everything off and do it all at once because I know I will get overwhelmed and then I'll be mad at myself for doing that. So we're not doing that. No. Okay. So to start, I'm going to give you context just in case you didn't watch my initial bookshelf organization video. I'm going to give you context of the current state of things and show you how things are currently organized. And then I'll give you a rundown of what I'm thinking in terms of how we're going to tackle the reorganization. So, okay. So first and foremost, this shelf, like I said, is all young adult. Starting at the top, actually, we just have a little display moment situation. It's just a lamp, my perfumes, some coffee table books, and a little clock. Nothing crazy. I could potentially move some books onto that and like relocate that. That could be shifted, which might be interesting to have a lamp more centrally located instead of off to the side, but that's not mandatory. But I'm actually not opposed to trying that. So keeping that in mind, we'll see. And we have Harry Potter and some more decorations just because those hardcovers are one of the few sets of books in like the middle grade / young adult genre that are pretty. So that's why they're up there, and they were thrifted. And then obviously from that point down, we have all of my young adult books. They are not in any particular order. I was just trying to keep authors and series together. And then Cassie Clare is at the bottom. And I did that because those covers are largely black and white and I didn't love the way that they looked all together, and I still don't, and I think I'll probably keep that towards the bottom. So I'm actually kind of loving how they're releasing special edition versions of the Mortal Instruments series, and I think they're only on, the most recent one that came out was City of Fallen Angels, I think, and so I'm probably going to try and collect those because I think that will at least break up the overwhelming black and white, I think. And I think actually somebody told me at some point that UK version of the covers of these books are the original versions, like where you can get paperbacks which have color instead of all being black and white. So I might look into that because I just don't love that they're all black and white if you get the paperbacks, like the new paperback versions. So I'm gonna be looking into that. We'll see. As I go through this, I'm also going to be paying attention to books that I could potentially unhaul because I really didn't do that at all when I was setting up my bookshelves when I got here because I'd already kind of done that when I was packing on the front end before moving. However, I feel like I could potentially be more realistic with myself now and see if there's anything I could get rid of now. Potentially. So anyways, that's the young adult shelf. Again, just not loving the concentration of colors on this. I think we could do better if we potentially just like maybe spread it out. Maybe we go long ways. Maybe that's the solution. Who knows? I'm scared. And then moving over here on these shelves, they go across. Starting up here, we have classic and older fiction, I guess. Older fiction that feels weird to categorize with my more contemporary fiction. They're not all actually classics, but I put them up here because it felt right in my brain. And then we have memoirs, nonfiction, media, and some of my textbooks from college. And then it goes into romance, which comes back down here and ends right here. Then it goes into contemporary fiction, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, mystery, thriller, and then the bottom 4 shelves are my TBR books. So I am gonna try and keep that there just because it makes sense for filming purposes, but that is the current state of things. I do also have these top shelves that are not being used for anything other than that painting, those candlesticks, and that plant. But we do have more space to work with than what is currently in use. So that's where we're starting. Now that I've said all of that, I'm really overwhelmed and I don't want to take anything off. I really would like to try changing things, but now I'm really stressed. Okay. We're just gonna try 1 or 2 shelves at a time. And I took a picture of where we were starting because I might put it all back. Okay, I hope this goes really smoothly and I'm obsessed with it when it's done. Okay, bye. Okay, I already got overwhelmed. So I started looking up bookshelf styling inspo on Pinterest because I needed help. So I kind of like, I mean, obviously I have way too many books for this, but I like how there's multiple lamps on this one. Obviously a lot of plants. There's a lot more organic space on this. Again, I know I have too many books for that. I don't mind like the idea of just leaving room for more trinkets, you know, just more decorations, which again, I know I have too many books, but if I were to move some of the young adult books into another space, there might be more room to do maybe something a little bit more like the shelving up above that where there's books and then things in between. like more space. I don't know if that would look weird because these take up this entire wall. I feel like the fact that there are so many books makes it feel cozy, and so I don't know if leaving space like that would make it feel weird. Like I don't know if that only works because this room in this picture is already very minimalist. Like I don't know if that's too much of a vibe switch, but I guess we would find out. Yeah, see, I'm looking and I feel like I do like the cozier vibe in these pictures. I do really like it when there's a lot of books. But again, it's like the overall colors work for me. I'm looking at her behind me. It's not working, guys. It's not working for me. I think it really is just gonna have to be trial and error, unfortunately. I do think more horizontal stacks. I texted Maddie and asked her what she thought, and she thought also it would help to break up the TBR books with some horizontal stacks, which I do agree. I think that would definitely help. Okay, I think we have no choice but to just begin. I'm gonna put in my headphones and turn on some music, and we're gonna get started. Okay. The mic, sorry about the sound quality difference, but immediately, no. Basically, let me try and put you in a different position where you can tell. I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell what I'm saying. Hopefully it will make sense because it makes sense to me with like what I'm looking at physically in person. I attempted to just move the romance section over here as if I'm just continuing it on from where it ends at the top shelf over here, right? However, if I do that, then that means all of the colorful sections, like all of the colorful books, are basically gonna end on this second shelf. Like all of the colorful books are gonna stop at the top half of the bookshelf, and then it's gonna be basically, oh yeah, the whole bottom half of the bookshelf would be young adult mystery thrillers and then TBR, which is overwhelmingly dark. Also has 0 to no display moments built into it other than the Harry Potter shelf situation, which does have the painted tile, which is pretty, and I do have my wooden tulips that my roommate brought me back from Amsterdam, which is also very pretty. So like that shelf does have some color to it. However, I don't know if that would be enough. Maybe it would. Am I just like jumping the gun? I might be jumping the gun. This might be enough. Do I just continue it like I'm doing it? I don't know, but I kind of want to switch it up more than I am. Okay. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. I'm gonna continue doing it like I'm doing it, but still keeping in mind that I might remove some of the young adult books. But we're being aware that the bottom half of the shelf might be too dark. We're clocking it. Okay. We're gonna keep going. She got stressed. Moving on. Something's not right, but I don't know what. Originally the plant was on the inside and the picture was on the outside. Maybe I need to revert back to that? No, something feels off, but I don't know if it's just because I'm not used to it. Something feels weird. Is it just because I'm not used to it? Is it growing on you? Or are we hating it? Is this already where I'm learning that space isn't working? Also, are we hating that? I'm kind of hating that. Yeah, I'm hating that. We're gonna have to change that. I feel like this is the first example of maybe space doesn't work. Okay, I think I have to switch them back. Okay. So. Books feel weird here now. I feel like they kind of do. They're just so hidden. It would make more sense to have them out. I feel like we could go full display moment here and just embrace the space. Okay, let's see. Does that look weird? Am I imagining that it looks weird? I think I'm fully imagining that it looks weird. I can't tell. I actually genuinely can't tell. I just think it looks weird because I know that there's space here that's being hidden, by the plant. It's okay because it'll get filled. I am actually currently reading a book that will go up here when I'm done. I'll be done in the next couple of days. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. I don't know. Looking at this, I'm thinking this is where I would put a lamp potentially, because I want to separate the contemporary fiction from fantasy. And I have, like, I found a little 3D printed lamp on Etsy, and I think it's small enough that it could go here. But I'm thinking maybe for now I could move my salt lamp up. I'm gonna try it and see if the cord is long enough, because I think it might be nice to have some light up here. These might be getting unhauled. We'll see. My friend Kat just put me on Bad Bunny. So we're getting to the end of fantasy and then thrillers, and then we'll be doing young adult. I'm stressed. Sci-fi, horror, mystery thrillers, and that's the end of adult. I need to step back and assess what we're working with here. Okay, I don't hate where it's at right now, actually. I just feel like the issue right now is I could use more stacks to like break up all of the standing, and then also all 3 books that I have like as display situations are like right on top of each other. I'll show you. Those 3 books are just all in a line, and I don't have anything else standing out like that. So that's not my favorite. But if I start the young adult here and then do these here, that'll be a nice little spot of color. Will be nice, I think, over on this side. And then those might even stay there, which I don't love, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And I can just kind of try and spruce this up a little, but I'm not hating this. Like, I just kind of like how that's a little bit brighter than it was. I'm still considering maybe moving Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I just don't love that. I love the Natural series, and I really enjoyed the Inheritance games as well, but something about all those colors together. Also, I just really wish that all of the Shadowhunters books looked nicer together, because that bottom shelf is just not nice to look at. But I'm gonna try and do something different with what's at the bottom, like next to them as well. It's not like that's doing anything for them either. So we're gonna keep tweaking, but I'm not hating what's happening. It could still be better, but I'm liking that it feels a little bit different. So it's an improvement, I think, at least for me. Something crazy just happened. And when I alphabetized, first of all, I flipped to Secret History and made that one be the one that's facing out, because I felt like I just needed something lighter to balance the darkness that has started happening here. When I alphabetized the beginning of Young Adults, I did Bardugo and then Barnes, and then I decided to move Hunger Games up here just for fun. It actually split the 2 Jennifer Lynn Barnes series, which might be enough to satisfy my brain and keep them separate, and it might be okay. So I think that this is fine. It's kind of a lot. Like, for some reason, this is really overwhelming to me right now. It feels like very busy. It feels a lot busier than what it was before for some reason. But I'm gonna put all of this back and finish out the young adult down here, finish up the TBR, and then might be calling it for today. I'll probably continue to tweak later this evening, and then we'll see if I end up being okay with this, like sitting with it for a couple hours. But I don't know. We might be done. I don't know, guys. Mystery. Oh. I am so dumb. I just realized what was happening and why Jennifer Lynn Barnes was by herself. And that's because it's not just all young adult all together. It was divided by genre. Duh, girl. So, I mean, I guess I could just like fully alphabetize, but that feels fully insane considering everything else is genre and then alphabetized. So me just like putting Barnes up there after Bardugo is not correct. I could put Bracken up there, which is the Darkest Minds trilogy, which would do something similar in separating a dark crab series and moving it up there, but it does not solve my Jennifer Lynn Barnes conundrum of not liking those series right next to each other. So me being like, oh my god, I just had them out of order alphabetically. Okay, so I am giving myself 30 more minutes to do this. I'm gonna wrap this up. Actually, I'm giving myself 15 minutes to wrap up this round. I'm gonna stand back. I'm gonna look at it from an outsider's perspective. I might even bring my roommate in here to look at it and tell me what he thinks. And that's all I have for you right now. Like, I think I like what I have right now, but again, something feels strange. If I wanted to like really space things out, I could. Like, I could take some stuff off and I could use the top shelves. So I could extend this to be even longer of a video and we could go crazy and I could do a harder core unhaul, because so far the only 2 books I think I'm gonna go ahead and unhaul are my 2 books from the Mara Dyer trilogy, because if I'm being honest with myself, I don't see myself ever rereading those. That was a series that I liked when I was in high school, actually maybe even middle school, and I don't see myself ever rereading that. I'm not as much of a rereader as I used to be. Anyways, I could go harder and I could theoretically really weed out some stuff, I'm pretty sure, from the rest of the shelves, but I just don't know if I want to do that unless I'm really hardcore expanding and wanting to go more display. But I'm wondering if I should wait until I have done like some ordering of a lamp and more decoration items with the intention of styling the shelves. Like stream of consciousness chatting at you guys today. So I think I'm gonna swap Darkest Minds with Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and we're gonna stick with the genre divisions for right now and see where that gets us. Okay. Oh my god. Right. Okay. I said I was gonna give myself 30 more minutes and I gave myself 35 from the last time I talked, I'm pretty sure. So for the last like 10 minutes, I've just been moving trinkets around like 2 inches to the right, 2 inches to the left, and I had to stop. I had to stop myself from doing that anymore because I think that for now, this is where we're gonna leave it. I'll give you an overview tour probably tomorrow because I need to eat something. I need to take a break and eat something. Also, I have another video that I need to film this afternoon. So the bookshelving is gonna have to stop. I've been doing this for 2 hours. Without fail, I always forget how long this kind of thing takes. So we love that. But I think I'm happy with where we've ended up. I think with this organization, with just like integrating the young adult in and just like going across and spreading it across like 1, 2, 3, and then taking it down 1, it alleviates just like feeling very dark over here because these 2 are both a little bit lighter. But I also do just think I could definitely just do some reading of some books with like pretty vibrant, cute covers to then add to the shelves, or I could really do an unhaul because at the very least I was looking at my mystery thrillers. Mystery thriller is definitely the section that I could do the most culling from because if I'm being honest, you know, mystery thrillers, they're really hit or miss, and also even the ones that are hits, the details leave the brain pretty quickly. And even if they don't, it's like, would I really recommend this? Would I really like bring this to my friend and be like, here, read this? The answer is not often yes. So I could definitely do some culling from that section. And then I think there's just maybe a couple series that I have started that I will potentially not be continuing, so I could potentially donate the first book that I do have sitting on my shelf. So realistically, I think if I do another reset in the near future, there will be some books that will be exiting the shelves, and then that will also potentially just change the overall vibes on here. So there's always that. Plus, the more I thrift and the more I bring new trinkets into the space, that will change the vibes as well. Also, my closet's open right now. Let me close the door because I want to show you something. The top of my closet has, like, my closet comes out from my room because it was like a later addition for some reason, and it comes out. And so there's like space on top. And I had this vision when I first toured this apartment of putting books up there. And I still would very much like to do that, but obviously it's not like the most functional thing in the whole world to have them out of reach up there. So I don't know exactly what books I would put up there, but I think it would be really cute. I have also considered putting a floating shelf above my bed as well, which would then require books to move over there. So all that to say, yes, I just spent 2 hours reorganizing these shelves for the first time in 6 months. However, will I potentially be moving everything in the near future? Probably so. Yeah. Anyways, I am going to take a break and eat something, and then I will be giving you a quick overview tour of where we ended up with these shelves. Okay. Hi. I have been living with the shelves like this for about a week now. And first of all, every single person that I have shown them to has said that they actually can't tell a single difference between how they looked before I moved anything. And second of all, I feel so much better about them. So that's the most important part. I actually should have started with that probably. So like switching those, first of all, I love them. I feel so much better about this organization than how they used to look, even though part 2, nobody can tell a difference between this organization and where we were at when we started. Like genuinely, I think if I showed you the before and after pictures, you would probably feel the same, and you probably will feel the same after having watched this video. I can tell. I just like standing back and looking at these shelves, I just feel so much better with everything like integrated together instead of having young adult being off on its own, all like dark and moody and sad looking. So yeah, I would really like to do like an in-depth bookshelf tour at some point. So I'm not gonna walk you through in detail what's on the shelves, but I mean, if we're being honest, you already saw me basically reorganize these. And if we're like being really honest, capital H, if I'm being honest with myself, things didn't change that much to the point where I feel like I have to like really walk you through step by step what's on here, because not only did I do that in my initial setting up my bookshelves video, I've kind of already walked you through what my plan was to change on these shelves, and I executed that. I didn't actually do anything different than what I said I was gonna do. So at least I'm a girl of my word. And you know what? There were no hiccups this time. So we love that. So I think I'm literally just going to kind of almost like speed run an overview of where we ended up. I'll probably do little inserts of each shelf just as almost like a time capsule for myself and you, if you're interested in seeing where the shelves are at and inevitably what I've categorized wrong, because there was a lot the first time around. So hopefully I've cleaned that up a little bit. And yeah, that's the plan. So here are the bookshelves as they stand as of August 2025. Okay, so with the first display shelf, honestly, almost nothing has changed on her except for the fact that this A24 Ladybird book has been added to this little coffee table book stack. She's a new addition to the collection, courtesy of my roommate. So she has been moved from like the general film nonfiction section to this stack over here just because I love her. But that is literally the only change that's happened on this shelf. And then from this point on, for the most part, other than randomly a young adult shelf down at the bottom, everything moves cross shelf by genre all the way across all 3 shelves. So we're gonna move with it starting here. So moving immediately over from display shelf number 1, we have where the books begin. If you can't tell, this first shelf has stayed mostly the same except for the fact that I actually categorized the books correctly. I reorganized them a little more succinctly, a little more cleanly. Specifically, I feel like in the nonfiction section, I have sort of like a memoir-ish section, an essays-ish section, and then a more like general instructional-ish section. I feel like nonfiction is a little bit tricky because a lot of nonfiction sort of exists in an in-between where it's a combination of memoir and essay and instructional. It's sort of harder to classify, but I kind of categorized them in a way that made sense for me specifically. I'm really satisfied with the way that it's ended up. So we're going with this for now. And then obviously on this other shelf over here with just my film and TV nonfiction, and that's it. And then the rest of that shelf is actually just display. We have a little piece of art and some photos, and that's it. So I'll give you a wide view really quick, but there are no longer any books on that half of the shelf, which is a change. My romance section used to start in the middle of this shelf, but she doesn't anymore. All of the romance books are now together, which honestly is incredibly satisfying to my brain. So this left shelf has now been repurposed, as we know, and now the romance section starts here, and it exists almost entirely all together except for those 3 books that bleed onto the second shelf. So this is my entire romance collection as it stands right now. I honestly love this being here rather than all of young adult being on this side. I don't know what it is about it. It's just so much more satisfying to me. Maybe because it's so much brighter, or just because it's all books rather than being a like display decorative moment. I don't know what it is, but it works so much more for me. Also, I did want to point out, my friend Heather made this for me out of clay. It's a little candle holder, and she made it. Is that not one of the cutest things you've ever seen? Also, she made this little guy. Yes, that is a birthday cake jelly cat made out of clay. Just had to flag because they're really cute. And she's really talented and really cute and really sweet, so yeah. Okay, anyways, like I said, the romance section goes until that plant, it ends, and then it starts the next genre, which is contemporary fiction. The contemporary fiction section starts with Bachman and goes up until this little salt lamp where the fantasy and sci-fi section starts. And they're kind of combined a little bit because the ACOTAR series had to move down a shelf if I wanted them to be stacked together, because each section is, for the most part, alphabetized by author unless the book stack kind of throws that out of whack. So in this case, it is that stack that throws this out of whack. So sci-fi starts over here at the end of this shelf, and then ACOTAR is like a belated fantasy edition down at the start of the next shelf before we go into the horror section. So I honestly have such a small fantasy collection in the grand scheme of things. Maybe I'm gonna try and tackle that in the fall and see how I feel about some different types of fantasy, because I feel like I'm overdue for that. And then I just have this cute little matchbox up over here to add a little bit more color, but that's the fantasy slash small little sci-fi section over here. And then, like I said, ACOTAR is the start of this next shelf, and it is the last fantasy element situation. Then I have my small little horror section, which has randomly really grown this year because I became randomly obsessed with horror. And then it starts the mystery thriller section, which ends on the next shelf. I don't remember if I said this out loud or not, but I decided to turn this edition of The Secret History around for the time being, just to like brighten up this specific shelf, because this edition has a black cover and this one is lighter, and then young adult starts. So I kind of like that The Hunger Games is more like front and center, because that's just like one of my all-time nostalgic favorite series, and so she's front and center. She has these cute, I don't think I showed this at all, stone fruits displayed on her. Love that. And then we go into this little display shelf, which is technically part of like the young adult categorization, at least in my mind. It has a lot of decorative pieces, just a nice little pop of color on this side of the room. Okay, I cannot get a good wide angle shot of these last two shelves because they're in the corner over here, and the tripod that I'm having to use right now, she's not equipped for a down angle shot. So this is the best I can do. But these last two shelves are both young adult, and I think even though these are the same books, that I do still think overall do not have the most satisfying color palette visually. I just think me doing this little bit of reorganizing actually helped a lot for whatever reason. Having my Mortal Instruments series stacked instead of all of the Shadowhunters books just like in a row really helped, because again, it's just something about like the visual of all of the same kind of spines next to each other that I wasn't loving. Just something about these two being separate, like these two shelves being reorganized and separated the way that they are is really helpful for me, and it's really working for me. So we love that. And then also, I didn't film any of me reorganizing the TBR shelves, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. I really think like just adding these two stacks was really helpful visually as well, even though it's gonna make pulling books for TBR jar videos probably a little more difficult. If I have to get something from the bottom of one of those stacks, not ideal. But it's honestly just pushing me to get through the books at a faster pace, because there's no reason why I should need to have two stacks of unread books like that. So we're just gonna be picking up the pace. We're just gonna be reading faster. That's the solution there. So anyways, I am actively losing the light, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it here, but I really think I'm happy with where I've ended up. Every time I look at these shelves, I feel like very content with what's going on with them. I did not feel that way before. Every time I looked at the shelves before I did this, I had the itch to redecorate them, to reorganize, to like do something about the state of them, which I had been feeling like since I finished in February. So the fact that I can look at these now and be like, no, yeah, that's what I want them to look like for right now, means that I think they're in a good spot. Now, am I gonna want to change everything about them in a month? Probably so. But I'll be taking you along with me if I do. So anyways, okay, that is gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys for keeping me company while I apparently barely changed the shelves behind me. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope it was entertaining to watch me really stress about how much I didn't like the way they looked, them to only change a little bit. So love you guys, hope I'll see you in the next one, and that's it. Okay, bye.